Hi everybody. So this is a little video help on how to do your chapter 4 project. And so for the chapter 4 project, you're actually going to be using the internet to make plans for your spring break and collect some information so that you can kind of get the best deal for your spring break trip. There's some things that I have filled in the blue boxes. If you want to change them, that's fine. But if you want to leave them, that's great. Basically, I chose departing airport as San Jose, which, by the way, the airport code is SJC. But if you put in like San Jose, California, you'll be able to see it there. If you want to change it to SFO, that's fine. And then I put in departure dates. These are the dates of our spring break this year. So this would actually be the cost if you were to travel for your spring break. The first job that you need to do is choose 10 destinations. And then you're going to be using these websites to calculate the distance and the flights. So I'll go ahead and I'll show you an example. I left all these destinations blank on your copy so you can kind of fill in your own, but I'll show you the ones that I have chosen. Okay, so you can see that these are places I want to go. My kids and I were planning on going to Costa Rica before the pandemic hit, and so we're hoping to still be able to go there. So I'm going to check out the cost of that. My brother lives in New York City, one of them, and the other lives in Minneapolis. I'm hoping to see them. It's been a long time since I've seen him. And then I just filled in some other places that I think I might like to go. So there's all my destinations. If you want to use some of them, that's fine. I'll show you a place on Google Flights too, where you can kind of explore if you're not sure of destinations. So the two websites you're going to use, one is the distances and one is Google Flights. For the distance, you click on the link. And when I open up this link, I'm actually going to move it to a new window. So that way I can kind of have them side by side. It'll make it easier when I'm filling this out if I have them side by side. So how this calculator works, you basically put in your departure city, and I'll type in San Jose, California. And my first one is I'm going to be going to San Jose, Costa Rica. And you don't have to, the website's pretty good. You don't have to be super specific. It seems to understand. There are 3 measures. We're going to do miles. When you type it in the box, make sure that you do not put any units. No units, no dollar signs. It's going to make your life a lot easier if you don't. So there's my first destination. I can leave that first, the second. New York City, measure distance. There it is. And you can see I can just go through and do this for all 10 of the destinations. Okay, so I've done the first 3 here. Okay, and then after you do the distances, next it'll be time to do your flights. And I'll show you the option where I was telling you on Google Flights where you can explore by the map if you're not sure of destinations. So if you want to type in the destination, so San Jose, and notice I click here and I'm going to choose San Jose, California. And I would like to go to San Jose in Costa Rica. And my departure dates for my leaving date, I'd like to select March 27th. For my coming back, I'd like to choose the 4th. So then I have that week selected and I can click done. And when it does this, up will come these options. I'm just going to type in the first one I see here. That's kind of like best departing flights. There might be cheaper, but they probably would be, they could be like 5 changeovers and take 3 days to get there. So I'll just go with this first one, and that's $293. Not too bad. Notice no dollar signs, no units. I'm just putting in the number. And then I can change to my second, which was New York. I'll select that. And it updates really quickly. And there is my cost, $297. I'll do one more here so you guys kind of get the gist. And for Minneapolis, it's $177. So when I go over, if I have all these filled in, kind of like what's the next step? And I'll show you that right now. Oh, and I guess I should also make sure I show you the map down here on Google Flights. Maybe before you do the search, there should be a way to explore. If you click this explore, you can see a map that has all sorts of destinations, and you can zoom in or zoom out and sort of explore different places. So if you know, like, oh, I want to go to Alaska, and then up here, if you expand the map or move it around, you'll be able to see where those are. So just so you know where that is. And after you have all your data, so you have your data all filled in like this, no units, you're then gonna go down here to start doing some of the math part. And so the explanatory is the distance, and we chose miles. And then the response was the cost in dollars. And so when you have your data, it's going to be just a matter of copy and pasting. So I will copy. I hit Control C. You might have several ways to do that. So then I paste that. There's my distances. I'll copy the round trips, the costs. I'll paste that again. And I'll say one more time, you'll get errors if you have any sort of dollar signs or units. So I begin my analysis, and there's my scatter plot. And it's kind of like all over the place. It looks kind of weak correlation to me. I'll go ahead and hit calculate. It's kind of like, so 0.58, kind of weak to moderate. And I'll go ahead and put the prediction line on there. Now I'm going to screenshot this to put it into my project. So however your screenshot works, you're going to screenshot it, and you're going to drag it over to your project. If you need to crop it, you double click and crop. And then I'm going to describe this, and I need to make sure I have the calculation, the correlation. So it told me the correlation was 0.58. So R equals 0.58. There is a moderate to weak positive linear association between distance and cost. And then for my equation, I need to get that from Staplet. And I'm going to round this, I'll round it to 2 decimal places. So y hat equals 213.42 plus 0.07x. So y hat equals 213.42 plus 0.07x. Okay, and so this 0.07, and I can remind myself what the x and y are, right? X equals distance, y equals cost. So for the slope, it's how the cost is changing. So the predicted cost is increasing. This is in dollars, less like 7 cents per every mile, every 1 mile. And the initial value, this 213, the predicted cost of a flight of 0 miles is 213.42. So that these values, both of these values, slope and y-intercept, they're really both about the y, which is the cost. I really care about how much my trip is going to cost. And these are values describing that cost. So then I want to know where the best deal is. So if I go back to my scatter plot, basically any of the dots below here, these are below my expected cost. So this one down here, that might be a really good value. And if I'm in Staplet and I do this, I can actually like click on this point. And this is, there's a cost of $177 for 1,500 miles. And I could go to my data to find out where that was. Same with this one. This one's 508 for 5,953 miles. So both of those are pretty low. So when I look at what those are, that was the two best deals here are kind of like Minneapolis and Barcelona. And if there's one that's below, but it's a place you really want to go, choose a place you really want to go. And then if it's below, so I can see here, these are all fairly good deals. Whereas this one, that's really expensive for the distance. And I could check to see where that was. I have to check my data. That's for one, so $620. Which one was $620? So Lima, Peru was very expensive for its distance. So that might not be a good deal. Same with this one up here. I think it might have been Paris. So some of these places that are above, those ones are expensive, and then the ones below. And then you'll pick that last point. Okay. So hopefully this has helped. You can always come to office hours if you need more help, or ask Joe or I to set up a meeting.